President Trump today talked about uh, speaking with a former president about the issue of Iran. And journalists questioned to know which of the former living presidents. Was asked if it was George W. Bush, was asked if it was Bill Clinton, then they mentioned the name of Obama. Trump did not say which of the former presidents he talked to, but he said that the former president that he talked to mentioned that the former president said that I wish I could have done it, meaning that the former president was reminiscing on why he did not take action on Iran. And so journalists have been asking, there are four living former US presidents: George W. Bush, Bill Clinton, Biden, then Obama. And so it's easy to rule out the Democrats, Biden and Obama, because, staunch rivals, they campaigned against Trump and all that. So it's not likely to call them, especially now that it's a real, crisis in how he's managing the issue in the Middle East, you know. So that now leaves, okay, Clinton. It can't be Clinton. Clinton was recently called to the House to come and testify on the Epstein files, so it can't be Clinton. So it rules out the three Democrats, former living US president. That leaves out one Republican, George W. Bush. And he has already said that George is not George W. Bush. So which of the former presidents is he talking about? Or is it that he's making it up? So if you say he made it up, it's not really out of the realm of possibility when you talk about Trump, So the thing is, it's a culture, right? At least from watching the time of Obama and, other presidents, it used to be the culture that when a president leaves office, right, the president maintains high level clearance. As in, a former president maintains high level clearance, he'll be able to look at top classified materials, and his opinion can be sought by the person who is currently in office on issues of foreign policy, on any issue, because the former president has dealt with some of these issues in the past, right? So if the current president chooses to, he can call up the former president either in person or by phone to seek their advice on a particular issue. So it was a practice that current president, they discuss, top information with former presidents, and former presidents maintain their intelligence clearance, so they'll be able to view confidential documents and all that and give their advice. And we already know that former presidents maintain their Secret Service details and stuff like that. So it goes to a point that, how much consultation did Trump do? In this circumstance, right, before the strikes on Iran on February 28th, how much consultation did Trump do? Because all the living presidents, they've had to deal with this issue of Iran. Remember Ayatollah Khamenei, who died in the first strikes on February 28th, he ruled for decades. And so all these former US presidents, they've had cause to interact with the issue of Iran. And the current Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, has been in and out of power for a long time. And so They intersected, former presidents have intersected with Netanyahu and have also intersected or interacted with the issue of Iran under Ayatollah Khamenei. And so all the former presidents definitely have an opinion or say on these issues. On a good day, the Trump administration, on a good day, could have sought the advice. Let's say he doesn't want to talk to Democrats because, oh, they are opposition and all of that, the campaign against him. It would have been wise for him to seek the counsel of George W. Bush. George W. Bush, considering the fact that George W. Bush was the president when 9/11 happened and was the president that led the attack on Afghanistan, president that led the invasion of Iraq, and it's the disastrous policy or war of choice in Iraq and how that unfolded and how that contributed to the Republicans losing to the Democrats, Obama in 2008. So George W. Bush would have learned a lot from what happened, with Afghanistan and with Iraq. And so if he was asked by Trump, surely he would have a lot of advice for Trump, you know. So it would have made sense if it were under normal circumstances that Trump had sought the counsel of the former presidents or a former president like George W. Bush. It may not likely that he did, it may just be something that, Trump just put it out there, it gains traction. Journalists will now go about asking Obama, asking Clinton, asking Biden, asking everybody, oh, did you talk with Trump? Did you talk with Trump? And that becomes a subject of conversation. Trump has done that before. He will create distractions and people just go along with that, you know. You know. So aside from former presidents, right? You have a lot of experience. You have those that worked with Biden, you know, there's people that work with Clinton, work with Biden, work with Clinton, work with Obama, work with Biden. They have wealth of experience. People who worked in State Department, those who in the military and all that. You have a lot of people that have a lot of experience in dealing with issues of the Middle East. You have people that fought in the Middle East as commanders and all that. You have people who are strategists, policy strategists. You have people who works in the foreign affairs, Department of State and all that. So there's a wealth of experience that Trump would have, picked from. And then that in Trump's first term, right, he made a lot of appointments of those who were really qualified, who had the qualifications to really do the job. Mm, but he fell out with those who kicked against him and who later came out against him, like in Trump's re-election bid. There were people that worked with Trump before that came out to say Trump is not fit to be in office and all that. So I think the lesson he got from that is that if you pick only those who are qualified in terms of experience, you may have people who are not loyal to him. So you have people like Pete Exet, who, although he had a short stint in the military, he spent many years working as a pundit, as an anchor or so in Fox News. You know, you have people around him who really don't have the requisite experience, but they are loyal to him. You know, so he picked people like that at the expense of picking veterans like those he picked. Remember me, General Kelly in the first time, Chief of Staff, and all that, and all of that. So Trump made the decision in the second term to go for people who he felt to be loyal to him. But he's not just president, he's not the president of a company, of a club or something, of an establishment. If you have a private firm, you can pick only those you like, only those who are loyal to you. But when you are president, the president of a country, president of a very powerful country, of someone of a the most powerful military force and all of that, having to do with deal with other nations and all that. You need people who have wealth and wealth of experience in dealing with these other countries and who could give proper advice.